Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're looking at a truly groundbreaking initiative out of New Zealand. It's called the PÖRAU Framework. Basically, this EthnoSTEAM initiative is completely flipping the script on science education. How? By actively bridging Indigenous knowledge systems right alongside formal STEM disciplines. It's a real game changer.
Okay, let's dive into this. Just imagine teaching the highly complex biology of genetics, but doing it through the deeply personal lens of genealogy. Or think about introducing the mechanics of modern robotics, but doing it by first grounding your students in the ancient, highly technical art of celestial navigation. I mean, how cool is that? This isn't just some theoretical idea. It's EthnoSTEAM in action. It takes these abstract, sometimes detached scientific ideas and turns them into concrete, culturally resonant pedagogical tools that actually connect with the students' lived experiences.
So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start high up with the mana ōrite principle, then dive into the 4 pillars of PÖRAU. After that, we'll explore the pedagogical tools engaging students, map out the Pūtaiao app, and finally, look at the cultural-mediated challenge for educators.
All right, starting with Section 1, the mana ōrite principle, where we see policy turning into practice.
At the very heart of this whole initiative is what's known as the mana ōrite principle. This is essentially a national mandate that requires the equitable inclusion and equal status of Indigenous knowledge, which is known as Mātauranga Māori, right alongside Western science and formal education. And pedagogically speaking, this is huge. It's driving a major structural review of the National Certificate of Educational Achievement. Basically, it empowers educators to take rigorous scientific standards and effectively clump or integrate Māori cultural concepts directly into their daily lesson plans. We're talking about moving way past simple tokenism and stepping into true, measurable equity in the classroom.
Moving on to Section 2, the 4 Pillars of PÖRAU, which is the EthnoSTEAM framework itself.
Now, what we're really looking at here is the creation of an epistemological bridge. The PÖRAU framework systematically translates Western STEM disciplines into their Te Ao Māori, or Maori worldview equivalents. And I want to be super clear on this. This is absolutely not about replacing Western science. Not at all. Rather, it's about validating Indigenous logic right alongside it. By doing this, we build a bridge that allows students to use familiar cultural practices as a direct pathway into formal scientific inquiry. And you know what? Educational research shows that grounding things in this local context actually empowers students to practice inductive and deductive reasoning simultaneously. It just makes the whole learning process far more robust and, honestly, a lot more natural.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we can break down the way these abstract concepts actually become culturally accessible in the classroom. First up is Pūtaiao, or science. Here, educators use whakapapa, genealogy, as that epistemological bridge to teach genetics. They also use local harakeke, or flax, to teach ecology. Second is Pūkaha, or engineering. In this pillar, the rich historical knowledge of traditional celestial navigation and voyaging by the stars forms the foundation for astronomy. That ancient knowledge then acts as a brilliant springboard to introduce modern robotics and mechanical engineering. Third, we have Hangarau, or technology. This beautifully connects traditional Māori history and practices with modern innovations, including artificial intelligence. And finally, Pāngarau, or mathematics, actively incorporates Indigenous logic and traditional number systems. It's just a highly structured, brilliantly practical way to make STEM deeply relevant to the students' cultural backgrounds.
That brings us to Section 3, Pedagogical Tools for Youth, and how this actively engages rangatahi in the classroom.
So how do we actually reach these students? Well, to effectively engage them, the program uses culturally resonant multimedia tools, like the PÖRAU with Maui Potiki ebook. This resource pairs the high stakes and passion of traditional Maui mythology with modern tech. It uses ancient stories as the narrative vehicle to introduce students to advanced concepts like virtual reality and robotics. It's a slightly mind-bending but incredibly effective contrast. The core objective here is really powerful: to reinforce the idea that scientific and engineering disciplines have a long, rich history in Maori culture. It validates their identity, It definitively shows them, hey, you have a rightful place in the future STEM workforce.
Okay, Section 4, Navigating with the Te Ao app. Let's map out some of that broader systemic support.
And this brilliantly illustrates the larger ecosystem the PÖRAU framework operates in to address systemic barriers. Think of the Te Ao app, which, by the way, translates to New Dawn or Tomorrow in Samoan, as kind of a Google Maps for STEM pathways. It helps secondary students track their academic progress with tools like a live rank score calculator, find curated scholarships, and even map out their career aspirations using personalized quizzes. This kind of support is absolutely essential. Maori and Pacific peoples have historically been underrepresented in STEM.
Yet they are projected to make up 40% of the workforce under 40 by 2041. To put that in perspective, that is a massive demographic shift. So this app actively helps them overcome historical systemic streaming and chart a really clear course forward.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5, the Cultural Mediator Challenge, and how we empower our educators.
When we dive into the educational research, we frequently hear quotes from mainstream science teachers expressing some real hesitation. They'll say things like, "I just don't have time," or "I really don't know how." And look, it is crucial to bring some empathy to the educators here. These quotes don't mean the teachers are failing, rather they reveal a profound need for systemic support. They often fear they just aren't cultural experts, which leads to completely valid anxieties about cultural appropriation or misrepresenting the knowledge. Implementing this kind of pedagogical framework requires ongoing consultation with community knowledge holders, and teachers simply need the right scaffolding to navigate this safely and effectively.
So addressing this gap is going to require a massive shift in teacher professional development. We really must equip educators to become confident cultural mediators. How? By providing cultural mapping-based training and facilitating cross-cultural lesson studies. The ultimate goal here is a complete transformation. We want to take teachers from being mere dispensers of isolated scientific facts and turn them into guides who can confidently bridge Indigenous knowledge and formal STEM education in their daily teaching. It's a huge shift, but a vital one.
Which brings us to a final, slightly provocative thought to leave you with today. How might other global education systems adopt this exact cultural mediator approach to serve their own diverse student populations? Because as we've seen with the PÖRAU framework, culturally responsive pedagogy isn't just about cultural preservation. It is a dynamic, highly effective vehicle for developing deep cognitive and vocational skills. I really hope this explainer has provided you with some valuable insights today and leaves you eager to explore the incredible future of inclusive STEM education.